Hundreds of elephants are mysteriously dying in Botswana, in Africa. Conservationist explains what we know so far. This is by Vicky Bolt, postdoctoral researcher in Conservation Biology, University of Reading in the UK. This is on The Conversation. Worrying news has recently come to light because hundreds of elephants have been found dead in Botswana, and as yet there's no clear cause of death. But as an expert in elephants and their conservation, I believe we can at least rule out a few possible answers. Here's what we do know. The first deaths were reported in March, but significant numbers were only recorded from May onwards. To date, it's thought that the death toll stands to nearly 400 elephants of both sexes and all ages. Most of the deaths have occurred near the village of Seronga on the northern fringes of the Okavango Delta, a vast swampy inland region that hosts huge wildlife populations. Many of the carcasses have been found near to water. Of those discovered so far, some lay on their knees and faces rather than on their side, suggesting sudden death, although there were also reports of elephants looking disoriented and even walking in circles. The tusks of the dead elephants are still in place, and as yet no other species have died under similar circumstances. Botswana's elephant politics. Botswana has long been a stronghold for Africa's remaining 400,000 elephants, boasting a third of the continent's population. While elephant numbers have widely declined in recent decades, largely due to poaching, Botswana population has grown. But this growth has been outpaced by the ever-increasing human population. With more elephants and more people, competition for space has escalated, and increasingly, elephants and people find themselves at odds. Some communities see the elephants as pests, as they feed on and trample crops, cause damage to infrastructure, and threaten the lives of people and livestock. In return, people retaliate by killing and injuring offending elephants. With large rural communities struggling to coexist with elephants, the issue has become highly politicized. In 2019, in a controversial move, President Mogwetsi Masisi lifted a ban on the hunting of elephants in Botswana, reasoning that hunting could both reduce their numbers and generate income for struggling rural communities. This, against a backdrop of rising poaching, suggests that times are changing for Botswana's elephants. This has sparked a speculation about the recent deaths, but given what we know, we can address some of the rumors. Firstly, it seems unlikely that poachers are to blame, since the tusks of the dead elephants have not been removed. It's estimated that illegal black market ivory trade is responsible for the deaths of 20,000 elephants every year. 20,000. The elephants could have been killed by frustrated local people, typically by shooting or spearing. In this case, though, the sheer number of dead elephants and the lack of reports of gunshot or spear wounds does not support this hypothesis. Poisoning could be used instead, either by poachers or in retaliation by locals. A few years ago, hundreds of elephants in Zimbabwe died after drinking from waterholes laced with cyanide, and the proximity of many of the recent deaths to water has given the idea some foundation. However, in the event of poisoning, we would expect to see other species dying as well, either because they drank from the same waterhole, the poisoned water source, or because they fed on the poisoned carcass of the elephant. And this, again, has not happened. It has not been reported. A natural cause of death? If the evidence currently available does not support foul play, then that leads us to consider natural causes. Drought can cause significant deaths. In 2009, a drought killed around 400 elephants in Amboseli, Kenya, a quarter of the local population, but drought tends to kill the very old and young, while the deaths recently reported in Botswana show elephants of all ages are affected. Moreover, rainfall in recent months has been near normal, ruling out the influence of drought. Perhaps because wildlife disease has gained much attention in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the remaining possibility that has been widely suggested is disease. While COVID-19 itself is unlikely, elephants, like humans, are affected by a range of diseases. For instance, over 100 were suspected to have died from an anthrax outbreak in Botswana last year, 2019. Those elephants that seemed disoriented and to be walking in circles might suggest a disease caused a neurological condition. Still, the information currently available is inconclusive. The Botswana government has released a statement explaining that investigations are ongoing and that laboratories had been identified to process samples taken from the carcasses of the dead elephants to avoid further speculation and prevent the deaths of more elephants in their last remaining stronghold. It's vital that investigations are expedited so that the cause of death can be determined and suitable action taken. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.